Hello and welcome to my channel Hustle and Slow, where I talk all about entrepreneurship, reselling, and building multiple streams of income from home. My name is Eileen. So if you've never been here before, welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a video about how resellers can work smarter and not harder. Things to kind of save you time and just make you more efficient as a reseller, because the more efficient you are, the less you have to work, the less time you spend on your business, the more money you're making per hour, and you can enjoy your life. I haven't always been this efficient. A lot of people ask me how I've learned to manage my time, and it is just something that I have learned over a decade of being an entrepreneur and kind of figuring out what works for me. But I wanted to share what I do to kind of just be more efficient and work a lot smarter. So right now I am a very part-time reseller. I did resell full-time for a while, and right now I'm just kind of getting back into it after taking a long break. I've been selling here and there a little bit, but I'm really starting to build my business back up, and I hope to have a good part-time income from it by the end of the year. So because I've been reselling for so long and I've just been a work-at-home entrepreneur for so long, I wanted to share some of my best tips with you. A lot of these can probably be transferred over into other businesses or people that work from home, but I'm going to try and talk specifically about reselling in this video. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is batching your work. This is something I talk about all the time. I've probably mentioned it in like a ton of videos, but batching my work makes me way more productive than if I'm trying to do a bunch of different things at once, or multitasking or anything like that. If I batch my work when I'm reselling, I get a lot more done, and it's just a lot more organized too. For example, when I take my photos, I take all of my photos at once. I don't go and take a photo and then list the item and then make it live and then go and take another photo and just list the item one at a time like that. I'll take all of my photos, edit anything that needs to be edited, upload them all, then I will list them all at once. So I do a lot of things like that where it's all one task repetitively over and over, because you can work a lot faster that way. So if you're not already batching your work, I highly recommend trying to batch your work. Even if you're batching only like 15 or 30 minutes at a time, because that's all you have, a lot of times you can get a lot more done in that 15 or 30 minutes than you would if you weren't focused on one small task and doing it over and over and over. With reselling, it's really repetitive. You source a lot, you take a lot of photos, you list items, you do shipping. There's some stuff in the middle there, but for the most part, you're doing a lot of repetitive tasks, and if you can batch those tasks together, you can get a lot more done. The next thing I want to talk about is cross-posting your items, and not just cross-posting your items so that you're getting your items in front of more people and able to sell more items, which is obviously more efficient. If you have 100 items and can get it on 2 or 3 different platforms, that's way more efficient than just selling it on one platform, because you're going to be able to make more sales. But if you are going to cross-post, I highly recommend today's sponsor, Vendoo. They've sponsored a lot of my videos, and I have been with them from the very beginning, so a couple of years now, and they are my favorite reselling tool by far, and I'm able to use Vendoo to cross-post my items on eBay and Poshmark currently. I previously also cross-posted to Mercari and Facebook Marketplace, and it's just an easy way to be able to get your item on multiple platforms. What's really exciting about Vendoo right now is they just came out with the beta version of their mobile app, and while they're still adding a lot of features, you are able to do things like delist and relist items. If you've been a reseller for a while, you might know that relisting your item pretty frequently can help that item sell, because after a while items get stale or listings get stale and they're not getting as many views or impressions. So I like to try and relist my items, at least on Poshmark, about once a month, and that's something that I can do on the Vendoo mobile app now, which I love. In fact, I actually went to Starbucks this morning, and in the drive-thru I was just relisting items on Poshmark. I think I got like 8 listings relisted on Poshmark while I was just waiting for my coffee to come up. So if you work off of your phone a lot, or if you find that you're like waiting at your kid's soccer game or in line at the drive-thru or anything like that, it's a great way to be able to work off of your phone. Like I said, Vendoo is today's sponsor, so if you want to check them out, I will have a link down below where you can save on your first month of Vendoo. I highly recommend it for all resellers, and now that they have a mobile app, it's even better, and it's going to keep getting better as they add more features to the app. My next tip is to get organized and stay organized. And this might not sound like something that's related to working smarter or being efficient, but it really is, because if you're not organized, you're spending a lot more time looking for items and processing items and just doing the work, because you either don't know where stuff is, you kind of have a messy workspace, or anything like that. So I try to keep things really organized when I'm working in my reselling business. I try to have a really good process in place and have my inventory really organized, so I know exactly what's what, I know where things are, and I know at what stage each item is in. For me, this kind of goes along with batching. So when I first go sourcing and I bring items home, I get everything processed and washed if it's from the bins, if it's not brand new. And then I will have them all in a pile. I know exactly where the pile is that needs to be put into inventory, and then I will put everything in my inventory all at once. And by putting things into inventory, I mean putting them into my spreadsheet so that I know what the item is, what I paid for it, and at that time I also do research and price it out and do measurements. So I have all of the information that I need to list other than the photos. And then after that, I go and do photos. And then I have a place that I put everything that has been photographed, and I just keep things really organized that way. So having a really good inventory organization system and process that is organized is really important in being efficient as well. One tip you might not hear a lot is taking good photos from the beginning. So a lot of resellers will go and use apps to edit their photos, but if you're photographing like 100 items, you're adding a lot of time and energy to making those photos look good. So if you can just take good photos to begin with and you don't have to do a lot of editing, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and hassle when it comes to opening it up in an app or on your computer and editing each photo. I'm not saying editing photos is bad, but if you can get them to a place where you don't have to edit them or it's really minimal editing, then that's even better than having to spend your time editing a photo. And then the next one is not for everyone right away, but outsourcing as much as you can. This one's a little more controversial because a lot of resellers want to do every single thing themselves, and it really just depends on how you want to run your business. Personally, I'm a part-time reseller. I have no intentions of being a full-time reseller and spending all of my time reselling. I want to spend as little time as possible doing it. The only thing I actually like about reselling is sourcing, so I'm going to try and save time doing anything else. Some ways that you can outsource are having someone list for you, having someone photograph for you. I use eBliss Reseller Solutions as my fulfillment, so I send all my inventory to them and they will sort and ship my items, so I don't have to do any of that. You can also utilize apps that will do stuff for you and save you time. For example, there is an app called Posture VA, and I know this is controversial whether you should be using an app to share your closet, but if you're going to be sharing your closet a couple of times a day, which you should be if you're on Poshmark, then using something like Posture VA that will share your closet for you is really helpful in saving you time. If it takes you 15 minutes each time you share your closet and you have to do that 3 or 4 times a day, that's 45 minutes to an hour that you wouldn't have to be spending doing that if you had some sort of software to help you. So I have a link to that down below if you want to check that out as well. If you're not comfortable with that, I totally understand because technically bots aren't supposed to be used on Poshmark, but that option is there if that's something that you want to look into. So those are some of my best tips, but on Instagram I did ask the reseller community and I did get a couple of answers that I wanted to share with you as well. One person mentioned taping measuring tape to your desk. If you sell clothing, you probably measure it, and if you don't, you probably should and put those measurements into your listing because a lot of people do look at measurements to make sure an item's going to fit them, and if there are no measurements, they might just click away and not purchase your item. Or if they go and ask you about it, it might take a little bit more time for you to go find that item, measure it, and get back to them. And by that time, they may have bought something else. So if you do measure your clothing, you can go ahead and tape a measuring tape to the edge of your desk. I actually used to have measuring tape taped to my desk so that I could measure things, but I found that it irritated my wrists because it was where I was typing and I was laying my wrists on it. So I didn't like having it there all the time. So I have this big metal ruler. It goes up to 48 inches. And I just kind of sit it against the wall in the corner, and when I'm ready to measure things I lay it across my desk and I use that, and then I put it away when it's done and it's not in my way. So this is just from Ace Hardware. I want to say it was between like $5 and $10. I'm sure you can find one at a hardware store near you. So that's a really good tip to kind of save you time versus actually taking measuring tape and stretching it out across every measurement. Another tip was to buy new items, and I know that's not possible for everyone. Not everybody has the money to do retail arbitrage or liquidation or anything where they're buying brand new items, but I did want to mention this because I wanted to say maybe not new items, but buying items that you know are in good condition and ensuring that you are actually checking items over really well and not buying items that are either going to need a lot of steaming, a lot of lint rolling or sweater shaving or repairs. The more time you're spending prepping an item, the less efficient you're being. So I really try to only buy items that are already in really good condition unless they're more valuable and they're worth the extra time that it takes to get that item into sellable condition. And the last one I want to share from the Instagram reseller community is to not spend so much time researching one item. I've definitely done this in the past where I have a piece and I want to find the style name of it, or I'm really just spending way too much time figuring out how to price the item and I'm wasting time just spending too much time researching that item. So try not to get stuck on one item. This happens a lot with like Lululemon items when I want to find what it's called so I can put that in the title. But if I'm spending like 15 or 20 minutes just trying to figure out what it's called, I'm wasting a lot of time. So I try to spend like a minute or less researching an item to find style names or keywords and figure out how to price it, and then I just move on. So those are some of my best tips for working smarter, not harder as a reseller, and saving time in your reselling business so you can make more money without spending so much time on it. Because as much as I love reselling, I don't want to spend all of my time doing it, and it is a business and it really does need to be treated like a business, so time really is money in that sense. So hopefully you found these tips really helpful. If you have any tips that I didn't mention to work smarter and not harder as a reseller, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I would really love to hear them. And make sure you check out Vendoo, today's sponsor. Their link is down below and you will get a discount if you use that link. And I will see you next time. Bye.